So I'll introduce this first.
Sure.
This is Dr. Tony.
Hello.
You're on the Crooked Spine Show, and your show is...
I don't have a show yet.
I'm going to call it Spark the Fire Within.
Yes.
That's your show. Okay. And biggest thing I want to do, let me set this up real quick, readjust, is a lot of what I talk about on my shows is how to stay healthy. What does that mean to people? Everything's different. A lot of it is people have ways to get healthy spiritually, mentally, psychologically, and physically. There's 4 or 5 ways. You can say more if you want to. But what can we do from a attitude-wise, mental and spiritual side to make our actions able to get the results we want?
Yes, I think it starts within. It's not just your diet.
Exactly.
It's the people you hang out with. It's what you do on a daily basis, your morning routine. So your diet consists of what you do on the daily. And I think it's just really important to start within before you worry about the exterior and everything else will follow eventually.
When a lot of it is you're talking about is how do we form the habits to start our body to adjust to a routine that's healthy for us.
Yes. And it starts with the small doable habits. I never think that anybody can get from point A to Z overnight.
Yes.
Nobody's going to run a marathon starting tomorrow just because they said so the night before.
Exactly.
So it's about implementing.
You can, but what's going to happen? You're going to get up in the hospital.
You might die.
People do die. Don't tell anyone. People do die during marathons. That's how they promote them. But a lot of it is, can you start bridging that gap of where you are, taking one step forward, one step forward, one step forward. With your life coaching, is that how that works? Is that how life coaching works?
Yes, that's a part of it.
Okay.
That's definitely a part of it. I think just taking 5 minutes out of your day to start a new habit, whether it is waking up early, journaling, eating the right foods, being around the right company, setting your boundaries. Saying no to people that may sound like a good time, but may not be in your best interest.
Good short-term benefit, but long-term, like that is cancer.
And that's been my problem. That's been my problem. Where in the past I used instant gratification over long-term effects, and now I'm seeing the result that did not work for me.
It doesn't work for anybody. It's not just you; it's everybody. And you travel a lot too, correct? What's your travels been like? We talked a little bit yesterday, so just to get things going. So.
I did. I think growing up in my 20s, instead of going to the typical college scene, I put on a backpack, basically. I lived in Alaska for a few years. I lived in the Caribbean for another few years. And
but you live like in 5-star restaurants and 5-star hotels.
Not even close. Not even close.
What back then, when you think back in the history of your mind, what made you want to do that?
Oh, I'm a free spirit, and I'm the type of person that says they ask me to jump and I'll just go.
Sure.
Like take pictures.
Sure. Got it. Let me know what happened.
Yes. And so I don't like to feel that I did the typical Orthodox lifestyle. I wanted to do something that was different. And I had opportunities that faced me, and I was so grateful for those opportunities.
Great. And I'm assuming all those opportunities you did, they were all 100% perfect. They went as planned. You came out with a great experience. Or were some like, okay, I did that, but maybe didn't turn out as well as I planned.
When I tell people I lived in the Caribbean, their brain automatically goes to pina coladas and hammocks all day.
Yes.
No, I lived in a third world country.
Okay.
It was poverty based. We didn't always have running water unless it rained because we collected the rainwater to take a shower.
Wow.
Like it was third world living. So
and we meaning you went with a friend, with friends?
I went with my brother.
Awesome.
My brother's a big entrepreneur, so he decided to buy a nightclub in the Caribbean.
Wow.
That's a whole other chapter.
Wow. And using those experiences now and starting a life coach and being a life coach right now, how has that helped you with those experiences?
I think because I lived them. I'm not trying to preach from a pedestal and say that I have all this knowledge because I studied A, B, and C. It's because I've lived a lot of struggle. And I think that's where I come from. I want people to know that life is not a smooth sail. It is not easy. And I do have a lot of struggles that I've been through, and maybe it's worked for me or against me that I'm willing to share those stories.
Well, and you can relate to people.
Absolutely.
You're not perfect.
Absolutely.
Neither. No one is.
No.
When some people have that image of, I'm the perfect person, come and follow me, that'll be intimidating for most people versus, hey, I've lived through struggles too. I've had experiences. At that point, I can empathize with what you're going through, not just sympathize, because I actually have been through it too.
Absolutely.
The emotional stresses, if you want to call it.
Absolutely. My life has not been easy or pretty. And I think part of the reason why I never really found my purpose until more recent is because I was still living my story. And the reason why I was still living my story is so that I can help others now. And if I didn't have those stories, I wouldn't be able to help people at the capacity that I can now.
And I'm glad what you mentioned too earlier, it's not the book knowledge.
No.
It's not I went to class, I studied this, this, and this. I learned from these professors. And what is a book? A book is a history of something. So you're learning in the present, not the past.
Knowledge is different from wisdom. And I believe wisdom you gain just through life challenges and experiences.
And a lot of it is experience. That's the key. The key, I think, experience and having experience of sometimes being successful, sometimes failing, they both are equal weighted when they give you that knowledge and that wisdom how to either change the next situation or help someone else change.
Absolutely.
It's more of somewhat, like I said, more of self-help first, and then from there going to helping others.
Yes, and I've always been intrigued by self-help growing up, but I didn't know what I wanted to do with it because I wasn't helping myself. So I wasn't charging my own battery. I wasn't filling up my own cup, but yet I wanted to help all these other people fix their lives. And I'm like, wait a minute. Let's get back to basics.
Yeah, back it up a little bit. Good. And how has that helped you overall to clarify being a life coach, understanding that it's not just a piece of paper, but the wisdom and the knowledge behind that, the understanding, the experience, is how's it helped you now help clients in, say, the current times?
I think just meeting them where they're at, because I can feel that I can relate to a lot of where people are at. And I'm not saying that I will not continue to go through my own struggles, like moving forward.
Like all of us.
It's still going to happen on the daily, but I have the tools and the tricks and the hacks that I am utilizing now that I didn't have 10 plus years ago.
And where do you get those tricks from, or those way to hack things?
Yeah, so
to back it up again.
So a couple of years ago, I'd say I found myself on my own spiritual journey, and I'm not here to teach anybody to, find that spirituality, but you have to find something, something that resonates with you, whether, it's God, the universe, whatever it is that pulls you. And what I found is that I listened to my own intuition. I listened to my own guide, and I felt this little nudge saying, I'm stuck, but I know it's right underneath my nose, and I know it's right in front of me. So please help guide me into where I need to be at this moment. And that's what sparked that fire.
Good. And so basically your life experience almost went down to a funnel. You found that spark within you, which is your Facebook page. At that point, now you funnel that down to being able to share that benefit of the people, how you can help them understand, hey, life is a journey, but how do we get through this? How do I help you get through this?
Yes, and I didn't do it alone. So I'm not here to say that everybody is on their own. You are not alone. No. I had a wonderful, amazing coach and mentor, and she didn't teach me anything that I didn't already know. She just helped pull it out of me. So it was really amazing that I found it was inside all along. I just needed some guidance and some help to figure it out.
What was it inside you?
I think that it's that spark, that activation. I wanted to be a catalyst to live my purpose, to do something meaningful, not live a mundane, boring life that's Groundhog's Day and oh my gosh, I'm doing this all over again and again and again. That's no way to live.
The monotony.
I
like the movie though, great movie. Classic. I know a lot of it is people, and some people may want that. Some people may comfortable there. Great. But if you're not and you live that life, how much would it eat you up inside to do that?
And that's the thing. I don't think it's fair to say that if, God forbid, the day that my life ends, that I didn't fulfill that promise, even just to myself. And now that I'm looking at the big picture, it's to be the voice that I needed when I was going through my own struggle for others. And if I don't do that in this lifetime, then I'm doing not only them a disservice, but myself a disservice. And I believe in the ripple effect. So I believe that if I'm just going to share my knowledge, then it's just going to pass down and trickle down to the next. And those people can share their wisdom and knowledge with those others that they love.
And is there like a golden rule where once you know something, great, but once you know something, share something, that's tenfold the benefit for the people around you, the universe, your society, everything?
Yes, because I've always been in the service industry, and whether or not it was in hotels, restaurants, wineries, nightclubs, nowadays I look at it, I'm still doing the same type of thing where I want to help others and I want them to see the joy, but it's in a whole different light.
How?
Because it's something that it's.
I just want to clarify.
It's not just. It's doing something that's actually meaningful, and like we said, the ripple effect earlier. So basically, I'm helping people do something that they can take with them and pass on down to the next generation and the next generation.
You're helping them find their spark that gets them going, that's in them already, and helping promote that to their action of being a better them of who they want to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm not here to do the deep, dark trauma work. Like, let's just say that's not my specialty. That's not me.
No.
I like people that, I want to be around people that have fun, and I like to see them have joy and experience that just light.
Yes. And I think the light is the energy of being happy.
Absolutely.
Of being and really happy, not just fake happy, but happy all the time. When you wake up happy, you actually, and not to get you out, but when you're happy, you can handle the stressors of everyday life, but it doesn't bring you down with the stressor.
Exactly. And that was not working for me. I was so broken and so low that I didn't know how to get out. And once I got out, I'm like, now I can use those tools and tricks, because there's no guarantee you're going to be happy for the rest of the days moving forward.
We're humans, right?
Yeah. So it's just about how you can implement those tools and use them proceeding.
And what I tell my patients is, how do you get yourself to a healthier state, spiritual, mentally, psychologically, physically? You can tolerate the stress of everyday life. It doesn't affect you physically. It doesn't affect you mentally. So you can go, it's like two people on the street. Something happens, and one person is angry, upset, and the other person's like, whatever.
Exactly.
Which person do you want to be? And when you're the person that goes, whatever, how is your emotional state affected by it or not? I'll walk by and go, that happened. Okay. Versus that person is angry the rest of the day, call their friends that are other angry people, and they have their angry group going on, and they just hate on whatever.
And all it does is hurt themselves.
Yes.
That's all it does. And what are you doing to yourself by choosing that direction? So one thing that I did learn is you can always have the choice to choose again. You never have to be stuck with the choice that you've made. So people live in regret, and they live, oh my gosh, I did this, I did that.
Yeah.
But guess what? You have the choice to make the choice again.
That's something that people, I haven't heard that recently. It's awesome. It's not like you made a choice, now you're going to jail, you can't pass go, can't collect $200, right?
Yeah.
It's something to where, okay, how do you re-choose and reset your body, or your mind, being like, your mind first, to change your actions, so now you go back to the person you want to be.
Absolutely. And it's not something that I came up with on my own. I've done so much just educating myself and reading, and I follow Gabby Bernstein. A lot of her work, it really resonates with me. And then one of her mentors is Wayne Dyer, and he's huge in the spiritual world. So
his name, I think pretty much people know Wayne Dyer.
Yes.
I've heard of him.
And so it all trickles down. If I can share that knowledge with others, then I'm doing the right thing.
And I think a lot of when you do that too, what does it take from your own experience getting into coach and being coached, now getting into coaching others, for someone to change their attitude so their actions actually change too? What's a time frame if you want?
Time frame? Well,
Is that very?
I think it varies. I don't think there's any standard box for anybody. But what I want to create is just that initial jump start.
Okay.
I want to activate that internal battery that there's something that needs to change. So let's start with A, B, and C.
Good. And walk me through how you would start someone. What's your process normally when you first get the phone call or the, hey, I want to talk to you, what's going on? What do you like to start with?
I just like to see where people are at.
Okay.
Let's just get a basic synopsis of where people are coming from. But what I do like to do is Reiki, and we can talk about that as well.
Let's get into that right now, because I want to kind of see how that works with the life coaching, how that benefits people so the overall more open and a healthier state.
And I don't necessarily need to know a person's list of ailments. That's not really what I do, but they tend to share them with me.
It becomes the package, right?
Yeah, it becomes part of it.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily need to know that. I just know that they're in need of healing and guidance.
Okay.
And so I work with them, and it doesn't happen overnight. It's not just like a one session, oh my gosh, you're healed type of thing. So I've had consistent Reiki clients that come to me, and we do a general talk at the beginning. We even use oracle cards.
Okay.
And we just create communication because I want to see exactly where they're coming from and just what might need.
You kind of want to get a baseline of where they are in a physical, mental state to how to get them to a better state.
Absolutely.
That would guide anyone in healthcare. Okay, I want to know where you are, I want to know your health, your ailments are. At that point, I know how to treat that overall.
It's the beginning of the journey.
Great. And what does it take Reiki-wise to get someone to a healthier state? Is it sessions? Is it time? I have no clue. I'm naive.
Let's back up on the Reiki because I feel people sometimes just need a little 101 or education on that. And what I try to tell people is it's a lot like meditation.
Okay.
So it's about relaxing and just exhaling and just getting yourself like in alignment with who you are. Mm-hmm. I lay them down on a massage table. So just like with anybody else who does massage or yoga, you have to be certified. So I was certified and I got Reiki attuned. And so I'm able to do this. I'm not any more special than anybody else. It's just that I use the Reiki energy. So Reiki energy is universal life force energy. Everything in this world is made out of energy.
That's fact, period.
It's
not a theory.
Yes, so going back to science.
Yes.
So yes, and I use that energy that I channel in during a session. I lay them out on a massage table and I use that energy. And it's nothing, I don't even need to know what ails them or what their main focus is. The Reiki energy goes exactly where it needs to go. So that's not something I even need to be a part of.
So is the Reiki energy separate than the universal energy the person has already?
Yes, it is separate, and I'm a conduit that helps that energy flow. So I'm opening their energy centers.
Okay. So if there's because I've heard of and I understand a little bit about chakras.
Yes.
Does that help? Good. I'm on the right
track.
Yes. Is does allow those chakra points to relax more, or how does that work? What's
open up. So
a
great example of this analogy is imagine a refrigerator closed door with all the food that's perishable inside. Eventually, it's gonna rot.
Doesn't matter what you do unless you freeze it, but even then, it's gonna get freezer burn.
You need to open up that refrigerator. Or you need to eat it because it's gonna rot eventually. So if your energy centers are not open, they're rotting away. Mm-hmm. That's why you get stuck. That's why you get sick.
You need the flow.
You need the flow.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. And so any ailments, Reiki could be used for anxiety, depression, joint pain, physical pain, if you have a shoulder ailment, if you get migraines, if you just need to learn about being relaxed, like it's great. Mm-hmm. It's great. And you don't even have to believe it works.
It's a science, so it doesn't matter if you believe it or not, it's going to work. And realize with osteopaths, with chiropractors, with physical therapy, a lot of it is we need nerve flow and blood flow. So why not have energy flow working at the same time so everything heals properly?
Absolutely. And I think the big pharma doesn't want to tell you all about how you can help heal yourself. So that's why I feel like it's my job to share that information, that we do have the ability to help heal.
And then going back to the mindset and the big pharma perspective, do people come in because they're tired of taking medications, because they're tired of being told by the medical doctor, there's either you need some medication or there's nothing wrong with you?
Yeah, and whatever they're doing is obviously not working.
Yes. Whatever you're doing, people, use common sense, right? If it's not working, do something else.
Try something else. And that's all I ask for a Reiki client, is just to be open-minded enough to say, hey, I'm going to try this. I don't even have to believe that it's going to work on me, but I have to be open-minded enough to give it a shot.
And like I said, even if you're not open-minded, if you're not 100% sure, it's science. It is going to work or not work. Mm-hmm. It depends on what your ailments are, what your problems are.
And there's nothing wrong with a meditation session,
No,
because that's what you're going into. You're going into a meditative, stance, and I'm using my hands touching you, but I'm not massaging you per se. Mm. But there's nothing wrong with going into that state of mind.
Do most people fall asleep during a Reiki session?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Not all the time.
People that fall asleep, are they more stressed or less stressed? If we talk about ailment stress.
I wouldn't say there's an answer to that. I would just say that it's working regardless. So even if they are sleeping, the Reiki energy is still at work.
Good. And again, it's hard to tell. Would someone need like a 1 Reiki session or 2 or 3, or how does that work?
So I do.
What do you base it on or assess it for?
I do sell them by the package, which I feel like it's just like with anything. Mm-hmm. If you're going to go to the gym, you can't just go once and say, oh my gosh, I feel great. I'm in shape.
I'm good for the rest of 2020.
Yeah, so it's a continual progress. I've had people come back that just continually come back, and I wouldn't even say that they have hit the, 20 mark?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So they just continually come back because they're obviously feeling something different.
Everyone, and again, this is just common sense, that you know your body better than any doctor, any scientist, any person in the world. Mm-hmm. You know how your body's doing.
Absolutely.
So why not do anything you can to feel better without doing crack and everything else?
Exactly.
Well, do crack's not good for you. I've never done it before, but I've heard. Is how do you get your body healthier state in a good way so you can be healthy and promote so you live a healthy mental, spiritual life.
Absolutely.
Why not?
There's nothing wrong with giving it a shot.
No.
And that's what I like to tell people too. Like, I love uncertainty. I love to take the risk. Why not take a gamble with something that, who knows, it could be like a part of your wildest dreams. Like, it could be something that's just so more than you could have ever imagined.
And Reiki is not a gamble because it's a science. It just isn't promoted as a healthcare field.
Well, there's no side effects. I mean, the only side effects is that you're going to feel relaxed.
You might fall asleep.
Yeah.
Apologize.
Yeah, that you might vent a little bit.
You might need the sleep. Apologize.
Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with giving it a try.
And how do you incorporate Reiki with the life coaching?
So I start with the life coaching. Okay. That's how I start a whole Reiki session. Any Reiki session. I don't have just some random stranger come into my room and just perform. Like, I like to see where they're at.
Yeah, you want to give an assessment per se.
An assessment, yes. And I don't need to dig deep. I just need the basics. That's all I need to go with to start a Reiki session. And I like to incorporate the two. But my next chapter is...
Yes, so I want to know about it. Over here.
Is I am creating a system. So I'm going to be offering a course, and it's going to be a very short 6-week course.
Got it.
Where it's jumpstarting your own internal battery. And I'm going to incorporate life coaching. It's going to be a group session, but it's going to be private, so nobody else will know about it. It won't, we'll have a private Facebook group, and I will be doing a little bit of Reiki.
Yes. And what I like about that is that a private Facebook group, for one, allows people to go, hey, Sally, I'm having this problem. What do you think about this? It's not just you doing it, it's the whole group helping each other out. It's more synergistic that way.
And I love that. Yes. Because I feel like I'm always learning, and I never want to put myself on a pedestal. And being somebody who teaches somebody something, I'm always learning and getting information from others, and it doesn't matter who they are.
Well, learning through experience dealing with people.
Absolutely.
That's everything. That's great.
Yeah.
And why 6 weeks? I know why 6 weeks, but why 6 weeks?
I just think that it's a great length of time for somebody to not have to commit the rest of the year, just to jumpstart. And that's what I want to do. I want to activate. So 6 weeks is enough time for me to give enough information, but they're not going to be overwhelmed. I don't want to overwhelm anyone.
No.
I don't want to give anybody
You don't want to give them
homework.
12 weeks in 6 weeks. You want to give them a full year in 6 weeks. You want to give them time to adjust. But what I was going to say about 6 weeks, that's enough time for your body to start adjusting to feeling uncomfortable, to then okay.
To change some habits.
I want this. So your body gets from an uncomfortable, unhealthy level, I'm going to say, to a comfortable level, but it takes time to transition there.
Absolutely.
Physically and mentally.
Absolutely. And after the 60-day mark, after the 90-day mark, like that's when you start to form your habits and things start to change. And that's when you see a difference. And it doesn't have to happen overnight, but it just, we want to start with baby steps.
And I would even say it takes longer, but it's a good way to get the momentum going, right? So they can say, okay, I'm good here. Now what's my next step?
Exactly.
And now what's my next step?
Exactly.
And how do you maintain your own health at a certain point?
One thing at a time. And I don't want to give anyone any sense of like, oh my gosh, I have to do more work. No, we're going to bring it back to basics.
Who liked school?
Not me.
Anybody? I don't know.
I rebelled. So that's my whole mission in life. Is I rebelled and I made all the wrong choices, and now I'm using that rebellious nature to try something new, but to maybe to serve me in the long run.
And you're helping people that want help for one, but want it on their terms to find out how do they get to a better state.
Absolutely, they have to be willing.
Good.
Because you can't force anybody. You can preach down somebody's throat, but it's not gonna.
You're just wasting hot air.
You're wasting energy.
Yeah, energy too. It's so tiring. And a lot of it is, I think, is when you talk about coaching, it's helping people so the rest of their life is better.
Oh, well, and this is the thing. The biggest investment is in yourself.
Huge.
And I finally learned that lesson not too long ago. I was always chasing and serving others that I forgot to fill up my own cup and realize, wait a minute, I'm stuck with me for the rest of my life.
It's painful. Painful.
Why rely on all of these other people to make me happy? I'm the one that had to make me happy. So the biggest investment you can do for yourself is to put that work into yourself.
And how often do you still get the self-care? What do you do for your own self-care?
Oh, it's a daily practice.
Okay. What is your practice? Walk me through your
I have different ones. I have a whole list. So,
okay, I only have like another 20 minutes or something. I don't know.
So, let's see. This morning I did a meditation.
Okay.
And then I blasted my radio all the way up here coming to you. And it was just so nice to get in the zone and listen to like real soulful music that really just energized me.
Good.
Yeah.
And how do you maintain a high amount of energy throughout the day?
Oh, self-care.
How do you no, you do, but what's a good average thing to do throughout the day to self-care? Yourself.
I would say not waste your energy on people that do not serve you.
Okay.
So when I do go home, I'll just cook a nice good meal and I'll be my introverted self, even though I may have all of these extroverted tendencies. I'm not on 24/7. I need to decompress and I need to chill out and I need to spend time with my son. I love hanging out with my 7-year-old. He's like, amazing in his own ways, and that's how I find, my own happiness and my own self-care. I'll go take a bubble bath. Shoot.
And a lot of it is, how do you get people, where do people suffer where they don't do the self-care? What do they normally do? What's their normal habits that, not destructive, but minimize their energy throughout the day?
I think they're just so used to it. So
the routine.
It's so routine. They're not being mindful.
What is a negative or a non-self-care routine, if there's a way to say that?
Oh, there's a ton of them. But I mean, binge
what am I
drinking.
doing wrong? That's what I'm asking.
You're not doing anything wrong. There's a lot of things that you probably wouldn't even think of, but staying up late on your phone until 1 a.m. like, and then going to bed directly the minute after stop looking at technology, and your brain is like, it's wired with all that stuff that you looked at for the past hour or two.
Well, then your brain actually reduces melatonin when you're using a screen too much, so you have no time to basically produce more serotonin in your body, so you fall asleep unable to sleep.
Absolutely.
Sorry, that's science.
Well, see, and that's the thing, and I so appreciate that science
I read
evidence.
that too. Someone else told me that.
But it's true. It's fact.
Yeah.
And
well, stuff we tell our kids not to do, we do.
Well, and I'm guilty.
We all
guilty. Are. Yes.
We all are. But how do we? What are other habits people do throughout the day that doesn't help them get to a better state?
Doesn't help them get to another state.
Like start in the morning and then maybe midday or afternoon.
I think they just get wiped out because maybe they're exerting all of their energy right away, and then all of a sudden they're on burnout mode. Mm-hmm. And so what are they going to do? They're just going to resort to like crashing out, not being productive, and instead of
eating junk food.
Yes.
Horrible.
Yes.
Horrible. We all do it too. Sorry, we all do it.
No, it's true. And those habits, and then just not being mindful, just going through the routine of the daily thing where they're not even thinking. All of a sudden, that bag of chips is all gone, and they didn't even.
Where did someone else eat it?
Yeah.
And when you talked about meditating in the morning, is that something someone should do? A form meditation, whatever it is, to get their mindset for the day?
I prefer it, and yes, I like to say that you should because it's like bookends. Start your morning off right and your day off right. So whatever it is that you're doing for your practices, because meditation is just one of them that I use. I also like to journal. I also like to use essential oils. I like to take a bubble bath, Epsom salt.
Oh, you're selling this bath thing.
So I just want to make sure that my days start and end with some sort of spiritual practice that's mindful and that's going to help me.
And a lot of it is you're getting your, if say morning for example, able to handle the stressors of your day.
Absolutely.
And none of us can predict what's going to happen all day long. We have no idea. But can we be ready for whatever it is so it doesn't stress us out too much? So in a day we're just, I'm done with this stuff.
But you are in control of how you respond.
Yes.
So that's my biggest thing too. I can't control what happens out there in the world, but I can control my response.
Good. And then people don't understand that, like you mentioned before too, is what's my reaction to that event, that phone call, that comment that someone left for me, that snide remark. Mm-hmm. My mom said, my dad said, whatever it is, can I go, okay, how do I react to that? Mm-hmm. What's my reaction state?
Absolutely. Or why me, poor me, and it's about changing that format in your brain.
And when someone has a poor me attitude, how do you get them to see that it's not to their benefit?
Lead by example.
Got it. Okay.
I think that's just it. And maybe some people don't even care to be around me because of my energy output.
Yeah.
But that's okay. They're not my people.
Yeah. It's tough sometimes to say no and think you're still a good human to people around you.
See, and I've learned to set boundaries. I've learned to say no. And it's okay to not make everybody else happy when you have to do it for yourself. And it's not about being selfish. It's not about being greedy. It's about filling yourself up so you can help others and doing it the right way.
Yes. And I think a lot of people waste energy, waste time trying to please other people by being their sometimes punching bag for what they want to spew out to you to make themselves feel like they're better.
And at the end of the day, they're stuck with themselves, and that's sad.
Painful. That's why people don't have mirrors. That's why people cover their mirrors in their house. I want to see myself in the mirror. It's a mindset. Then how do you get their mindset to slowly change by example to start changing their habits? Mindset to habits. How does that work?
I think that would be the next step.
Okay.
And I like to share. I have a whole entire self-care routine that I go through and I share with my clients.
Great.
So I like to give examples of what I do and what they can do to start changing those habits.
Good.
And yeah, I'm guilty sometimes. Yeah, sometimes I just want to eat my carne asada burrito and watch Netflix, which is okay. But I'm very much into moderation and I'm very realistic.
Mm-hmm.
So then I get right back on track.
Well, because you know what track is.
Mm-hmm.
Some people have no idea what a good track is.
Mm-hmm.
They never learned it. They were never taught it. They don't have examples around them to actually help them understand what a good track is.
Mm-hmm.
By being a life coach, you're getting those 1, 2, 3, 4 people, and then beyond that, to learn better habits, and then from there, how does that habit stay a habit? How do you help them through that process?
And getting them back on track is key. And like I said, I'm guilty. I've done it before, even recently, and I see it happening moving forward. It's just that I know the difference.
Yes.
And I know how I feel at the end of the day.
Yeah. What's your net?
Yeah.
What's the net end of the day? What have you done? What have you accomplished? And when you said I know how I feel, because you know what feeling good is up here. You know what this feels like.
Mm-hmm.
Some people need time to go from here because this is their normal to get to that point. And by having a coach and someone to walk you through that allows you to get there in a short period of time and not go through all those bumps and bruises people have to go through sometimes when they get there on their own and actually get there so you get there and stay there.
Absolutely.
You know, and like you mentioned, downtime and off days too. Okay, but how do you stay on track in the long run?
It's training your mind. It's training your emotions. That's a big one. It's basically, like I said, you can't just go and perform a marathon tomorrow.
No.
So it's starting with the baby steps and moving forward one day, one step at a time.
And when you feel uncomfortable with the training, the life coaching, is that good or bad?
Oh, that's great.
Why is it great?
Because it means you're making progress.
Yes.
If you're in the comfort zone, then you're just stagnant. You're not moving anywhere. Yeah. You're not going forward. You're just going to stay there and rot.
That's painful. Why would you use that word? It's a painful word.
It's a deadly word.
It is a deadly word. And how do you get someone to get out of that stagnant state, that rotting state?
I think just with my spiritual life coaching program, and also Reiki is what has helped me. I'm not saying that it's there to help everybody, but it is a choice and it is something that's out there, and I do offer it.
Well, in Reiki, I'm assuming, and I'm just going to make it in my head right now, if someone's in pain, you have to take away their pain first to get them to a healthier state. And Reiki may be a way to help them release that pain.
It alleviates the pain.
At that point, they can move on to better state.
Move towards the healing.
I'm going to make my own book or something. I don't know. It's going to happen. Anything else you want to add to the show? What I've understood from this is how does Reiki work? How does life coaching work? And how you as life coach, Laura, has helped people understanding by example again how to get there.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm here to offer, and I know that's my next step. And yes, it's fearful. I haven't done anything like this before, so I'm just like everybody else. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm doing something that I haven't tried, but I'm willing to take the risk, and I'm willing to feel uncomfortable.
I was going to use the word comfortable. Uncomfortable to get to a better state for yourself, but also help other people understand uncomfortable is good to get to their healthier state.
Because the reward it surpasses any of the fear that I have of not even giving it a shot.
And I'm assuming unless you're on your deathbed, the return on investment of getting to a healthier state for the rest of your life is 1,000,000,000,000,000%.
Absolutely.
I don't even know if that's a real number.
But absolutely, and that's the way, God forbid when my day comes that I want to die knowing that I have had some kind of fulfillment to help others.
And there's no regrets that way.
None.
Huge. Anything else for your first show on the Crooked Spine show that I have here?
I'm really excited. I'm so grateful to just be given this opportunity. So I'm super thankful, and that's another thing that I love to teach people is just be thankful and grateful for everything that comes their way.
It's funny, I did a couple convention speeches for some graduates at the local ROP here, and a lot of it was, can you say thank you? Can you be grateful? Can you say appreciate that more often? Can you have that attitude in action so you get the benefit of understanding how much important you are to other people?
Absolutely.
And your 6-week program will help people. I don't even know how much it is. I don't really care. But the return on investment is huge.
Mm-hmm.
And you doing that, and realize if you do something for free, what happens is you're not going to do it. Mm-hmm. There's another golden rule out there called when you pay attention. Mm-hmm. When you pay attention. You find value in it. But you have to put the work in. And again, not a lot of schoolwork because it would be painful, but a lot of understanding and putting the time in to accept I need a better life. I need a better me to make my life better.
And that's exactly where I'm at.
Good. Thank you for being on the show, Laura.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. I'll
Appreciate
see you soon.
you.
And again, on all these, on both her and mine is all our contact information. Contact her for a quick consult. Hey, I'm looking for this, and this. Can you help me?
Perfect.
That one, it doesn't hurt to ask. Never does.
Never.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.